Being 6 o'clock, I call the June 2023 Town of Clayton Planning Board to order. For roll call, board members Lee, Dupree, and Liscombe are not present. A reminder to anyone in the public that would like to speak, please speak clearly and loudly as possible in the microphone. I will try to remind people as we go along if it becomes hard to hear, and hopefully I don't offend you if I ask you to speak a little louder. Thank you. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Did everybody, the minutes were emailed to us. Did everybody have an opportunity to view them? Well, excuse me. Let me go back one. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Staff? No, thank you. Back to the approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Powers. Second by Board Member Applewhite. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is says public comments, but it's for item 2023-91-0A, downtown permitted uses ordinance amendment. The presenter will be Ben Howard, the planning director. Ben, I will say, it's nice to be this far back and just hearing the sound, the echo.
Yeah, let me get. All right, well, good evening. So this is a text amendment addressing a couple of uses in the downtown area, specifically amending section 155-202A, table 2-1, the use regulations. The proposed amendment would allow for lounge, cocktail, and entertainment indoor uses to be permitted by right in the B1 zoning district. These uses currently require an SUP in the zoning district. The draft UDO that the steering committee has reviewed actually does also allow these permitted by right. So we're just sort of expediting that. The amendment was initiated at the request of the Economic Development Department. The other thing I'll say is we do have, we've had at least one or two applicants coming and talking to us about wanting to do these type of uses in the downtown area. So this would allow them to.
Excuse me, Ben.
Yep.
I don't know if it's all the mics, but.
Okay, sorry. Is that better? Let's see.
If I could, from what I understand, there is an electrical issue associated with the old cords. So I don't, or is this the new mic?
Like yours sounded fine. Yes.
Is that a little bit better? Okay, we'll see if that works. But as I was mentioning, the amendment was initiated at the request of the Economic Development Department, but we also have had a couple of applicants talking about wanting to do these type of uses in the B1 zoning district, which is a downtown Main Street district. And again, this amendment, if passed, would allow them to do those uses sooner or apply for those uses sooner than they would be able to if they had to wait for the new UDO to come into effect. So as you can see, the amendment is just changed to 2 places on the table of uses. Again, deleting the S in entertainment indoor and lounge cocktail in the B1 zoning district and replacing that with the P. The approval criteria, the first criteria is the extent to which the proposed text amendment is consistent with the remainder of the chapter, including specifically any purpose and intent statements, and must adopt a statement describing whether the action is consistent or inconsistent with the approved plans. The proposed text amendment is consistent with the remainder of the applicable chapters. It meets the intent of the code and is consistent with all approved plans. The primary purpose is to allow specific uses as permitted uses in the B1 zoning district that are currently only permitted with special use permit. Second criteria said the extent to which the proposed text amendment represents a new idea not considered in the existing chapter or represents a revision necessitated by changing circumstances over time. The proposed text amendment allows for more uses as permitted uses in the B1 zoning district, which generally covers downtown commercial areas of town. The amendment is in line with proposed changes to the new UDO that is being drafted through the Codified Clayton project. In addition, this amendment is in line with both the 2045 Comprehensive Growth Plan and the currently underway Downtown Master Plan and the Downtown Strategic Plan, as far as trying to expand the uses that can be done in the downtown area. Third criteria is whether or not the proposed text amendment corrects an error in the chapter. It does not. And the fourth criteria is whether or not the proposed text amendment revises the chapter to comply with state or federal statutes or case law, and it does not do that. So finally, staff recommends the planning board discuss and recommend the text amendment for section 155.202A for public hearing consideration by the town council. And the recommended consistency statement as on the screen is that the text amendment is consistent with 2045 growth plan, specifically goal economic development 3, support downtown Clayton as an economic asset. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for the planning director, and members of the planning board? Thank you. I have one question. So lounge, is that also defined as a bar?
Yes, so lounge, cocktail is what is the use that would be utilized by staff if someone came in wanting just a bar. So Revival is classified as a lounge. The Cardinal, thank you, down at the other end of downtown is also classified as a lounge.
Okay, thank you. Would it include nightclubs?
Currently, yes, but I believe in the new code, I believe we have broken out nightclubs as separate from the lounges. And we've actually in the new UDO, we do not use the terminology lounge anymore.
Alrighty, thank you, appreciate it. Yes, Board Member Applewhite.
This may be a question.
Okay, I'll let Patrick address that.
Good Good evening, Planning Board members. Patrick Pierce, Economic Development Director. So in the economic development strategy and the work that's been going on here with the downtown master plan, something that was highlighted in there that came out through a lot of the survey data was a interest in bringing more, we've got great food opportunities, great things like that, but how do we bring more entertainment and more things to do downtown? So this, I think, getting ahead of this and getting this at the front end of this and not waiting to the UDO will be a great opportunity to be able to attract some more of those businesses and be responsive to the market, as well as, there's been an interest in having more places for people to, come out, there's eat, drink, socialize, those sorts of things. So really, for us from an economic development standpoint, rather than having this wait until what would be probably sometime in fall when the UDO would be considered, and then having applications now, we're able to really address this now and be able to use this in terms of our recruitment and be responsive to the market and what we're hearing from folks that are looking to come to downtown.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, is there any member of the public who would like to speak on this matter? There's no one in the audience, but just for the record, I wanted to include that. I'll turn it over to the board for their consideration. Are there any comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to recommend or not recommend 2023-91-OA Downtown Permitted Uses Ordinance Amendment to the Town Council. Thank you. We have a motion to recommend by Board Member Applewhite. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Board Member Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The recommendation passes. Thank you. Mr. Howard, is there any new business?
No new business, sir, but I will briefly give you a couple updates from the planning director. And thanks to the nice new microphones, I can do it from my chair here, which makes it a little bit easier. You all should have received an email from me this afternoon about the Codify Clayton project and sort of an update and next steps and next dates. So just as a reminder of that, you will be receiving the next draft chapters on Friday, with the final draft chapter, which is really just the definitions chapter, on Monday. We will be meeting Monday, July 10th, Thursday, July 13th, and if needed, Wednesday, July 19th, to review those chapters and wrap up our work as a steering committee. The Wednesday, July 19th is the usual Board of Adjustment meeting date, but there will be no items in front of the Board of Adjustment this month. So we will be using that meeting date if needed for the Codify Clayton Steering Committee. As the last several steering committee meetings have, we will be meeting in the Rotary Room on the second floor, and we'll, as we have been doing, provide y'all dinner. We're also in the process of starting the testing phase of the project as the draft chapters are getting wrapped up here. That testing phase is expected to last between 9 and 10 weeks, so which is why we're starting now. There's several weeks of work for the engineering consultant who's handling the testing phase for them to work on before they even get to needing the full draft UDO. So that's why they're getting started now. We expect that testing phase to take, like I said, about 9 to 10 weeks. We will have a stakeholder group for that testing phase that will consist of I believe we're looking at 3 members from the steering committee and then 5 to 7 members from the Chamber's Development Stakeholder Group, so that we can have what we hope is a well-rounded stakeholder group through this testing process. That stakeholder group will meet 2 or 3 times during the testing process to discuss the outcomes of the testing and provide some insight. Following testing, there will be a report published by our consultant outlining the results of the testing and any additional recommended changes that may be recommended to the code from that testing. But the draft code itself that you see in July will not necessarily change based on that testing unless something is major pops up in that. Also wanted to let you know we have scheduled our next and last public forum for this project. It will be Thursday, August 17th. We will have 2 times available that day. We'll have a 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. session that is really geared towards the development community, but it'll be open to the public. And then we'll have a 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. session that is truly geared to the public to catch those that may want to stop in on their way home from work. And then finally, as far as the final schedule for this, what we are planning and what we're working towards is a release of the full draft of the UDO on September 11th, with it coming back to the planning board for consideration and hopefully recommendation on September 25th. And then we will be moving to the town council for the public hearing on Monday, October 16th. And then from there, adoption either in that October meeting or possibly in November or December. The goal is to have the new UDO adopted by the town council, preferably by the first meeting in December, and have it be effective January 1, 2024.
Thank you. Any questions of the planning director? Thank you, appreciate it. Now it's the time for any informal discussion, or if a member of the public would like to speak amongst the board. Any discussion? All right, thank you. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Board Member Powers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Spence. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.